Hello and welcome to another video. It's OT19, more known as Ultimate Gamer 19,000. And yeah, today I am back with another Baldur's Gate 3 video. First of all, there are actually two things I want to get through really quickly. My audio for my past Baldur's Gate 3 videos, in general, have been pretty bad, I would say. Recently a commenter left me a comment saying my audio was terrible. Hurt a little bit, but I did need to hear it, and I do want to thank that commenter for telling me because now the audio should be better. It should be a lot clearer. Should be less loud. It should be less reverby. And yeah, because I did get a new microphone. Second of all, I do just want to thank everyone so much for all the support that my Baldur's Gate 3 videos have been getting. They've been getting so many views, more likes, and more comments. And I do genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank everyone that does watch them because it means so much to me. Even though it's not like the highest views, getting a couple hundred or even a couple like 10, like even like 50 views still means a ton to me. So I do want to thank you all. But yeah, today's video, to take all the sappy crap out of the way, is on the fighter. I'll be teaching you in general how to build multi-class, what equipment you should wear, what subclasses to pick, everything a fighter will need. I will be teaching you how to do it, why you should do it, and why you shouldn't do it. So yeah, so let's start off. So now the fighters have a D10 hit dice, meaning that they do have more HP than, let's say, a wizard or a bard, but they will have less HP than a barbarian. So they're like the second highest when it comes to HP, which is pretty good. Now, when it comes to their key ability scores, most fighters use strength. Some fighters can use dexterity, more ranged based ones. And constitution will always be important because constitution is greater hit points. And as a fighter, most fighters are up close and personal. They like to do some hand to hand brawling. They like to wield a sword. They like to be up close and personal. Now, there are bow and arrow versions of the fighter that are extremely efficient, which I will be going into. Um, but mostly, commonly, fighters are up close and personal. So, yeah. Now, here's the thing with fighters, they get access to every weapon and every armor type in the game. So if a fighter, they can wear heavy armor, medium, light, shield, simple, and martial weapons. They can all use with proficiency. Now for skills, they can pick acrobatics, which in Baldur's Gate 3 isn't used as much, but it still can be useful. Animal handling, which is decently useful but does fall off the later you get. Athletics, it's like acrobatics. History, which is really nice. Insight is extremely important. Intimidation can be important. Perception, extremely important. And survival can also be important. So overall, fighters do get a bunch of skills that are just genuinely pretty damn strong. And now, when it comes to casting items or scrolls or equipment, their spellcasting ability is intelligence, so they do scale decently with a wizard. But yeah, at first level, they do get second wind. Basically, allows us to, once per short rest, regain 1d10 plus our fighter level hit points. So at maximum, it's at 22, minimum it's 13, which is pretty damn strong. Um, it's very good in combat healing. It will be better than a potion because it is a bonus action like a potion. Now, fighters do get fighting styles, and actually, fighters get every single fighting style in the game. They get archery, which gives us a +2 bonus to hit with our ranged weapon attacks, defense, a +1 bonus to armor class while wearing armor. Sorry, all monks. Dueling, while you are wielding a melee weapon that is not two-handed or versatile in one hand and no weapon in the other hand, you get a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon, increasing your chance to do heavy damage. Basically, if you're wielding a rapier or a longsword or anything that can be wielded in one-handed, as long as you don't have one in the other hand, you gain an extra +2 damage, which is really nice. Now we get great weapon fighting. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage dice for an attack with a two-handed weapon melee weapon, the dice is rolled once. So basically, you can re-roll. So if you roll a 1, you're most likely always going to get higher. Next, we got the protection fighting style. When you have a shield, impose disadvantage on enemy attacks to attack one of your allies that are within 5 feet or 1.5, I think, meters. I'm not entirely sure. You must be able to see the enemy. This is a reaction, so you do have to toggle it in your reaction page. Next, we get 2 weapon fighting. When you make an offhand attack, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of that attack. Overall, all the fighting styles are very build dependent. Uh, Archery courses for our archers that use bow and arrows or two crossbows. Defense is for someone that's really cares for the AC. Dueling is for someone that's using like a long sword or a sword and board or a rapier, maybe finesse based character. Great weapon fighting is for those people that really care for damage. Even though I feel like great weapon fighting is kind of bad, I just rarely ever use it. Protection protection seems okay, but in reality, it's kind of meh. Because if you are wielding a shield, you're most likely using dueling, because the plus to the damage is extremely nice, especially when a long sword is gonna be weaker. Because in Baldur's Gate 3, there are no legendary long swords, so that kind of does suck. And two weapon fighting is extremely useful if you're fighting with two weapons. Next, we have Action Surge. Immediately gaining an extra action on his turn, recharges on short rest. This is basically when the fighters miss abilities. Gaining an extra action is a whole other turn of attacks, whole other turn of smites, or a whole other turn of casting spells. So yeah, now at level 3, fighters do get their slump classes. They have the Battlemaster Fighter, which the Battlemaster is basically this masterful like fighter. I mean, it kind of weird way to say it, but just imagine it as your stereotypical like fighter in a video game. For example, they can disarm with their attacks, they can riposte on their enemies, they can trip their enemies up with their master swordsmanship. Basically, a battle master fighter is like your Kirito, is like your Trunks. Basic people, or like Zoro. I guess Zoro would be a good example of a battle master fighter. Just people who are very proficient with their blades. Next, we have the Eldritch Knight. The Eldritch Knight is useful for throwing builds. If you don't know, Baldur's Gate 3 has a really big thing on builds that throw weapons, which I will be making videos, especially when I get into the Barbarian, because those are two intertwined. But the Eldritch Knight does also provide some magic. Granted, it does provide very limited magic, but it does provide the very coveted shield spell, which I will be getting into a little bit later. And next, the Champion Fighter. Basically, you get improved critical hit. Your champion fighter is basically your very basic, like fantasy character. The Battlemaster fighter has okay. The Battlemaster fighter is Salt and Pepper, but the champion is just Soul. That's the best way to explain it. Like, yeah, it can work. Like, you'll eat it, you'll play with it, but I think picking the Battle Master usually is just a more enjoyable route. Now, level 4, you do gain a feat or ability score improvement, like every class. At level 5, they gain extra attack, which is extremely important for the fighter, because the fighter basically makes the most attacks in the game. So, yeah, attacking and a fighter are kind of hand in hand. At level 6, they gain an additional feat. This is special to only the fighters, because the fighters do gain the most feats at 4. Now, at level 7, all your subclasses do gain some pretty nice improvements. For example, with the Battlemaster Fighter, they gain 2 additional maneuvers, 1 extra superiority dice. The Eldritch Knight gains the War Magic feature, which basically allows them that when they use their main action to cast a cantrip, they can swing with their sword as a bonus action. This is really useful for anyone that's wielding like a great sword or something like that, because sometimes, maybe casting uh I don't even know an example of a cantrip. Maybe casting firebolt may be better, because if they're vulnerable to fire damage, casting firebolt then taking a sword is probably going to do more damage. So and now champion gets remarkable athlete jump, which basically allows the fighter to increase their jump distance by 10 feet, and then they get remarkable athlete proficiency. I'm sorry, slurring my words. Basically, they're allowed to add half of their proficiency to any check that is strength, dexterity, or constitution that they're not proficient in. This is a pretty good skill, but overall, with a game like Baldur's Gate 3, there's just you have 4 party members. You can build your party to specifically play roles. For example, I always recommend a party to have a rogue, someone that dipped into rogue. That's just my personal recommendation. But yeah, at level 8, they do gain an additional feat. At level 9, they gain Indomitable. Basically, once per long rest, which I know is kind of extra, it can reroll a saving throw. This feature is sometimes useful. It's a feature in reality. Yeah. Now the Battle Master Fighter at level 10, they all do gain some new abilities. The Battle Master Fighter has improved combat superiority. The Eldritch Knight has improved Eldritch Strike, which basically allows the opponent to have disadvantage on its next saving throw when they're hit by a melee weapon, and then Champion Fighter can choose an additional fighting style. Then at level 11, they can make an additional attack when they use their attack action. So now I'm making a fighter's peak amount of attacks 6 in a turn if they use action surge, 9 if they have haste, and 4 if they have a bloodlust elixir. No, not 9. It would be 12 if they have a bloodlust elixir, which is pretty insane. Yeah, the fighter does a ton of attacks, and finally at level 12 they do gain an additional feat. So overall, that's kind of like the basic overview of the fighter class. Yeah, it's very strong. If you guys couldn't already tell, the fighter is one of the stronger base classes in Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like I've done full playthroughs where I went fighter 12 and all of those characters stood up and maybe even outshined my other characters that were like multi-class, garbage. So it really is very impressive how useful the fighter can be. Granted, they were all Battle Master fighters because when we look into the Battle Master fighter, I think this will be a separate video in general. That they have a bunch of maneuvers that are really powerful. Now I have used an Eldritch Knight before, and the Eldritch Knight kind of is just shield fodder because the shield spell, if you guys do not know what it is, allows you to add a +5 to your armor class, which is very powerful. And also, thing with the Eldritch Knight, it does only unlock second level spell slots. So, it does get like Misty Step and Scorch. It can get some really cool stuff like Misty Step, Enlarged Reduce, Gust of Wind, Arcane Lock. It can get some nice stuff, but still, it it's always kind of semi like disappointing at least when it comes to me overall. The Eldritch Knight is good, but definitely is lacking. And then finally, the champion. This is in D&D's always been seen as like, oh, if you're first time ever playing D&D, you make a champion fighter and you'll be good. It's simple. There's legit not much. It's very very bones. And also, 10th level feature being an additional fighting style is I'm not. It's pretty garbage. I mean, it's not the best look. Yeah, 12th level, 10 flow feature. Overall, if you are to play a fighter, I would recommend just picking up Battle Master, but that's just the fighter class itself. Now I'll be looking at weapons and feats that you should be looking to pick up for your fighter. Now, remember when it comes to the weapons and feats section, it really does depend on your main build, but this is going to be a general overview. Now, damn, I wish I could look at a big list of weapons, but some really useful ones are, for example, the I'm not gonna try to pronounce this, but the Gold Turn Mill. I did try. It's a very powerful longbow, and I made a build with that uses this longbow. It uses bloodlust elixirs, and it just shred Raphael. It's just if you don't know, the Golden Mail is the best longbow in the game because with Celestial Haste, it can give you a free use of haste with because unless you're playing in honor mode, haste is extremely powerful. So overall, having haste on a 11th level fighter is disgusting because that's 6 attacks like off the bat. It's pretty damn disgusting. Now the other really good weapon is the rapier. Is one of the rapiers, the duelist prerogative. This is a very strong rapier made for all of those rogues that want to use it, but it also really works pretty decently well, I'd say, for fighters. Basically, they can crit on a 19. So if you are using the duelist prerogative, don't play a champion because you will straight up just be useless. And also, this can use the dueling fighting style, which what's it called? The fighters get access to. And also, these can make a offhand bonus action attack, which is pretty nice because most fighters usually don't make bonus actions. So having this on a battle master fighter allows for more attacks, and overall more attacks means more damage. And also, this can be used with dexterity. Next, another really important weapon I do genuinely want to mention because I've used it on many builds are the Baldwin's Giant Slayer and the Silver Sword of the Astral Plane. Now, Lae'zel, one of your companion characters and or origin characters, is originally a fighter, and this Silver Sword of the Astral Plane is made for Githyanki. And when wielded by a Githyanki, holy hell, is it just powerful? Basically, it gives advantage to every mental saving throw if a Githyanki wears it, resistance to psychic damage, and can't be charmed, aside from the fact that it's a plus 3 greatsword that deals an additional d6 of damage when wielded by a Githyanki, and when not wielded by a Githyanki, it is just a plus 3 giant long sword, great sword with the Soulbreaker feature, which allows the wearer to potentially make the user stunned. So yeah, it is really damn strong. But overall, when it comes to this great sword, it is powerful. But if you're not a Githyanki wielding this, then the Baldwin's Giant Slayer will straight up just be better. If you guys don't know what the Baldwin's Giant Slayer does, then oh, have you been missing out, especially if you love Great Weapon Master abusing builds. Now, what the Baldwin's Giant Slayer has, it causes a feature called Giant Slayer. On a hit, double the damage from your strength modifier. That's really strong. The weapon grants you advantage on attack rolls against large, huge, or gargantuan creatures, which in Act 3, we can get this weapon, are extremely common. The whole Steel Watch factory is filled with a bunch of large creatures. The final fight with the Elder Brain, no spoilers, but you have a bunch of giant creatures. Overall, the way you get this sword, there's overall just a bunch of giant creatures. It is a very hard boss fight, but very fun boss fight too. And also, you can turn yourself giant, which regains on a short rest. So this is really good for fighters because on a short rest you would get back your giant form, your second wind, and your action surge. All in one short rest, you can get so much additional stuff. And also your giant form gives you 27 temporary hit points, making your fighter even more tanky, and an extra d6 of damage used with this great sword. So if you pair this up with a Cloud Giant Elixir, then oh, you're gonna be dealing some disgusting damage. Also, it does have a feature called Topple the Big Folk that deals additional damage equal to your proficiency bonus on a hit. Large, huge, or gargantuan creatures take an additional 2d6 slashing damage and must succeed on a strength saving throw or be prone. Which usually large creatures are pretty good at strength saving throws, but still, you know, they can never be that much bad. Now, some feats that fighters would be using, first of all, is Great Weapon and Sharpshooter. We'll go over Great Weapon Master first, because it's the first one that appeared. Basically, Great Weapon Master reads as such. When an attack with a melee weapon lands a critical hit or kills a creature, you can make another melee attack as a bonus action that turn. This weaponizes your bonus action, something that the fighter really doesn't use. But this is the more important part. When attacking with a two-handed or versatile melee weapon in both hands that you are proficient with, attack rolls take a -5 to hit, which is bad, but the damage is increased by 10. This is extremely broken, and this is what makes fighters with action surge, with bloodlust elixirs, with just anything, just extraordinarily broken. And then finally, the other feat that is just genuinely really good on all martials that should be taken. Well, it depends. There is Polar Master, but Polar Master currently just is broken, so I wouldn't recommend actually picking that up. Savage Attacker is a pretty good feat. It is better when you're using Paladins because of, you're rerolling more and more. But another one is Sharpshooter. Your ranged weapon attacks are not penalized for high ground rules, which is pretty damn good. Range weapon attacks with a weapon you're proficient in have a -5 to hit, but an additional 10 damage. This is exactly like Great Weapon Master, and you can toggle it on or off. Also, Sentinel is a very good feat, but it's even better when you use Polar Master, because the thing is, with the fighter, you can use something like Polar Master because of how many extra feats a fighter gets, so something like Polar Master is genuinely viable. Also, Shield Master is also pretty good. I'm pretty sure it did get buffed, and overall it's decent. I mean, it's not the best. Overall, playing a sword and board character does kind of suck because of just how lacking it feels at certain moments. Also, Tavern Brawler can be taken on Eldritch Knights these Eldritch Knights have something called Bind Weapon, where basically you can bind a weapon to your hand, and if it gets knocked out of your hand, it re-equips automatically, not taking an action. It takes nothing, not a bonus, not a normal. I did hit my mic very softly, so if you did hear that, I do apologize. But basically, when we use the Tavern Brawler, when we throw a weapon, which we can, our strength modifier is doubled on the hit. Adding a ton of damage, making basically strength, making a thrown weapon the same as the Baldwin's Giant Slayer, which, if you don't know, is one of the best weapons in the game. So just having that as a double is very strong. The weapons tab just fell out. But yeah, that's kind of all for for fighters. This is a general overview. I will be going into subclass like deep overviews later. Probably not my next video. My next video will be a build guide. It will be a kind of like pirate inspired character. It will be a warlock fighter, multi-class, so you will be able to see the fighter shine in one of my future videos. But if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any tips or tricks about the fighter that you do like, generally just leave that down below, and I'll like it, heart it, if it's true. If you have any other weapons or armor that I may not have gone over, make sure to also leave that down below. But yeah, that's all from your boy, OT19, signing out. Peace.